Texas Podcast Massacre contains spoilers and adult language. For more horror, visit us at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. This is Texas Podcast Massacre.
Welcome to another episode of Texas Podcast Massacre, coming to you from Houston, Texas. I'm your host, Mitch, and with me as always are my lizard people co-hosts, Nate.
He shattered me.
And Lisa.
Ooh, I was going to say something, but I think it's a spoiler, so I'm not going to say it. I can't say the last line in the movie, right? I mean, I
you
think
can't say the last. No, that's not allowed.
Yeah, no, that would be. Well, so each week on Texas Podcast Massacre, we review a different horror movie, have a little horror debate question with an unsuspecting victim, someone who's typically not what you would call a horror fanatic. This week, we are heading to the Church of Transfiguration.
Transfiguration.
Yeah, just us three, though. We're not bringing anyone along, just us just us to review The God Inside My Ear.
Wait, are you saying that I've done enough of these that you don't consider me an unsuspecting victim anymore?
No.
This one I do because
this one you do, yeah.
This is a little different. This is a little different type of movie.
So this is a special episode. We were approached to do to review this. It's currently being shopped around for some festivals. So we got to have a kind of an exclusive, I guess, early sneak peek at it.
Early screener.
Yeah. So pretty awesome. Just for a do-it-yourself podcast like us. So, but yeah. So in this case, you're definitely an unsuspecting victim, because particularly for the non-mainstream type movies.
Yeah. This is more of a more specific art house. More housing of art than usual.
Artsy? Is that what you're trying to say?
House with an A-U-S.
Exactly.
House.
Okay.
A little more gaga than you're used to in your horror film.
A little more meat dress.
A little more meat dress. That's solid.
Yeah.
So I think without further ado, let's get into this week's debate question.
We will see how the Lord favors you.
No, you dare not blaspheme. He will punish you. The dog of hell will devour you. All of you! No!
That drop gets better.
With age.
It's like a fine wine.
It's like a fine corn-based wine. Yep. Anyway, all right. So for the debate question, this one's a little different. So, like Mitch mentioned, we're doing The God Inside My Ear. And this is a movie that was made for about $8,000. So it is extremely low budget. Although they did a fantastic job with, it doesn't look like it was made for $8,000. I mean, basically, Mitch spent more than $8,000 on the equipment to do this podcast, much less film an entire feature-length movie. So I think it's a great accomplishment. I was surprised at how well it looked and everything was. So my idea was, everybody's got a cool pet project idea in their head, right? This, the director, Joe Badon, did the writing for this movie, directed it, all this stuff. Everyone's kind of got like an idea. So if someone was to if you kickstarted and someone randomly gave you $8,000 to make a movie, obviously you can't make Battlefield Earth 2 or something like that if you wanted to, although I'm not sure you would. But what is an idea for a movie that you would make with like a really low budget that you think would be good? So it's got to be this movie, a lot of like narration and sounds in her head and kind of like lo-fi technology, right? Keeping all the budget down.
Well, so Nate, do you want to kick us off then? And
I actually like Lisa's idea. I think Lisa should kick it off. She had a pretty solid one.
Okay. Yeah. So since I'm living through it, I think real low budget, good idea is to follow a mom around, but in the very, very early stages of infanthood. 3 months or less, because it's terrifying.
Does it start with the baby crowning?
No.
That's the first shot.
No.
Like black and then that shot.
No, it starts with the baby crying.
I mean, if you're going for
and it ends with the baby crying.
If you're if you're going for like the how many people passed out in the movie theater viewing. Yeah, you could start with The Crowning, I
Well,
guess.
like-
Because let me tell you the twist ending here. You go through a day,
Yeah.
you get through it. There's a lot that goes into it. You see how exhausted the mom gets.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Finally gets the kid to sleep.
Yeah.
Able to lay down. Next thing you know, kid's crying again. Cut to black.
So what is 9 Inch Nails every day exactly the same? Just
Pretty
playing
much.
throughout the whole.
Yeah.
Whole.
Yes.
Wow, this is
It's
This
bleak.
is-
what
Yeah.
genre? What genre are we
Jesus.
talking?
It's horror, man.
Is it a straight horror
It's
movie?
horror.
You'd have more fun watching Schindler's List on repeat.
Yeah, this is
Sounds
this is the sequel to Prevenge.
Oh.
Yeah,
Or is it the
in the womb,
yeah,
and then
sequel?
then
No,
outside the
no,
womb.
no,
Yeah.
no.
And then maybe you go crazy because even though the baby's not crying, you hear crying.
Yeah. Oh, that's
shit.
already happened to me.
Wow.
Like, there's been times that when I tell Mitch, I'm like, is he crying? He's like, no. I'm like, oh, I'm hearing something then.
Man.
I'm losing it.
What? Okay. So let's bring this home. So that sounds good. What is the title of this movie?
Oh,
Maybe we can help you out and think of this
Ooh.
here.
that's a good question.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Mother's Day. Ooh, it's
No,
No,
Day
there's
segment.
already a horror movie called Mother's Day.
Oh, okay.
Aw.
It's like an Ashton Kutcher joint. What, I don't know. One of those guys.
Might be. I think it's an older one.
Cry again.
Cry baby cry.
No.
Because then it ends and starts with a cry.
Oh, hey. I kind of.
It's a Beatles song, but you can make it work.
I don't know. Call it Swaddle or something.
Swaddle.
The Swaddling.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. The Swaddling. That's awesome.
Wow. Okay.
We'll be shopping that one around next year.
Yep.
Yeah, really. Jeez.
Get in touch with me. We can
Send a check
sketch
to
this
Texas
out.
Podcast Massacre for $8,000, and that will be yours.
I need like $50.
You film it's like Unsane. You film it on an iPhone.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
You just
Low
need to,
budget.
you need to edit it. Get Mitch to edit it for free.
Yeah. I already got a baby. I got a crazy mom. Me. So, we can get this done.
Done.
Okay. Wow. That sounds depressing.
Yeah, that's
I'm just
And
kidding.
doable, though. Very
I
doable.
love
Yeah,
my
that's-
son.
that's like one you'd put out of cans, and you'd have like some
Yeah.
it's like the old Barney video movie he does for the Springfield thing off Simpsons, and you have like the opera choir in the background,
Oh,
with
yeah.
aria. That would just be just black and white. Don't cry for me. The baby's already asleep. I don't know.
Oh my God. Wow. That's awful.
I mean,
yeah.
you could go a number of directions. With
All right,
that.
Mitch, what do you got?
Okay, so mine is not necessarily an original idea per se.
Oh, here we go. Get the lawyers ready. $8,000 on lawyers.
All right,
Just straight up.
So hot off the heels of HQ, I would do like a mobile video game trivia thing, but you could do this almost like the old SNL game show thing, right? You remember the old? Did you ever see the one with Chris Farley where he's on the Japanese game show?
Yes.
And you know how when they get the answer wrong, they have to cut off a finger.
Yeah.
Sort of like that, except when you get an answer wrong,
But it's real.
you're dead. It kills you somehow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But like the premise, you don't know that. Yeah, like it's the show itself. Like when you're watching on the phone, it's supposed to be kind of like, oh, this is like, it's just kind of spoofy. Like, oh no, I missed it, ha ha ha. Like you don't really know they actually die. Like it's just you think it's cool effects, but the flip of it is, no,
It's real.
It's real. Again, not like the most ingenious or like the inventive thing, but I guess it'd be some cool low budget kind of stuff you could probably do with it.
Okay, so your money's
Do
all
they
spent on
realize-
practical effects then.
Definitely practical effects.
Okay.
You don't need great acting in this one.
Do they realize when they're like, hey, let's all play together tonight so we can help each other win? And then they just start dying.
Oh yeah, someone sabotages them. Like definitely, it's like that'd be cool. You have like a group of people, like it's almost like the 100. You just have a group of people in a room and you're all watching them. I don't know. There's a lot of different aspects of it you could do. And if you wanted to make it really artsy, you could have some, think piece about social media, avatars and some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
I don't care about any of that. I just,
What's the name? What's the name of this then?
really lame could be Death Queue. But that's
Oh my god. Thanks.
but that's really
Wow,
lame.
Quizmaster?
that title made title made Lisa's movie sound like upbeat. Like that was rough.
That was rough. This movie's, I mean, I don't know. Tara Reid stars in it.
Gotta make that money.
Oh, I bet we could get her front.
How about
page.
thumbs up, thumbs off? If they're cutting off thumbs.
Sure. If they're cutting off thumbs.
If that could be one of the things. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. There's yeah. If I need help, so if you're listening later on, please tweet me a good name for this movie at TX Pod Massacre. You can also tweet me individually.
Chop quiz
at Mitch TPM. Either way,
I like Chop quiz.
Chop quiz is good. I like
Chop quiz is good.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
All right.
If Chopped wasn't already a show, that would be pretty solid as well. Chop quiz is good.
Chopped doesn't have all chop variations.
Chop quiz sounds like a movie you would find off the VHS racket at Albertsons. So yeah,
you make it sound like a bad thing.
No, it's not. I'm saying that's like
99-cent rental.
Exactly what I'm going for. All right, Nate, wow us with your.
I changed it midway through this conversation. Okay, my idea. Yeah. First of all, usually when I come up with an idea like this, I think of the title first and then I work backward. But mine would be, okay, so you have a spy breaking into a place, right? Breaks in, is trying to steal some shit. You know, you don't know who he's working for, whatever, or she. It could be either. Who knows? I don't care. A spy.
Way to cut yourself. Good.
Is doing something. Yeah, a spy is doing something, and then they get like knocked out. Okay, they wake up. They're totally blindfolded. Right.
Okay.
I'm keeping this as low budget as humanly possible. So
right.
Part of the movie is just like black. Like they just have their cover, like their eyes are covered. Right. And you just have the camera moving in black.
No.
That's super cheap to do. So that's no problem.
No.
Basically,
Nate slashing budgets over here. Just blindfold him.
yeah, blindfold him. Done.
Basically, it's just a podcast.
Also,
we're gonna put a blank screen.
Make sure when you buy the blindfolds, the cheap blindfolds, like you can kind of see, but it's mostly black. Not like the fancy ones. No, they're blindfolded, and then basically, like, you know, someone starts like interrogating them, talking to them. You can't see what's happening. Eventually, you progress where like you can actually see, right? They take the thing off, you can see, but then it's like horrific things kind of like happening to you. The people that you're talking to are like, you can't really ever make them out and stuff like that. And so based on their conversations and your internal thoughts, which you can narrate just like this movie, you gotta try to figure out what the hell's happening before you get murdered.
50 Shades of Horror.
50 Shades of Horror?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Because you're blindfolded.
Are they using sex toys on you?
I don't know. It's your movie.
Yeah, you said you have to figure out what's happening to you.
Yeah.
50 blades. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Blades of Horror.
And so I guess I would call it like, what would I call it?
I thought you said you had a title and you worked
No,
backwards.
I said the other one I did. I started with the title and then I scrapped that.
What was
one.
the title of the other one?
It doesn't make sense now. So
No, I know you're not. But what was it?
No, I got to come up with the title for this one
All
first.
All right.
Something with the word spy.
Spy again. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Death Spy.
Oh, death. You just stole Mitch. How is that somehow worse than Mitch's death cue? I don't even know.
Whatever. You know it'd work. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'll think of the title, but I like that idea, and it would be super cheap to do. It's kind of like you guys have seen what was
This
the
is a shitty spy that he's just like kidnapped with a burlap sack on his head.
Well, I mean, you get caught, or maybe it was
Ooh,
double
just call it
crossed,
burlap.
or was double crossed.
Oh.
See, Mitch, you don't know. That's why
Just
it's
call
good.
the movie that you don't know.
It's almost like Burn Notice 2, but like R-rated or something. I gotta think of a better. I gotta think of a better title. Burn Notice 2 is the working title for it.
Yeah, I mean, you could do something like For Your Eyes Only, but
Yeah,
how could you work that in?
my eyes only.
Hmm?
Ooh, I like that. All right, my eyes only. Coming into a theater near you, 2038.
Better than Double O Dead. So there you go.
Oh,
That sounds like a
God.
like a really shitty henchman.
Double O heaven, because you just get killed right away.
All right, well, yeah. So if any of y'all have $8,000 just sitting around,
The movie
and feel
we're
like
reviewing
funding that,
is better than all of these movies. Let me just throw that out there right now. We would not do well with $8,000
no. What do you say? We need more money to make this
minimum.
These ideas, we definitely need more to really make them, really see them through. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, if you have a movie idea, yeah, definitely tweet us out at TX Pod Massacre. Send it our way on Facebook. Yeah, let us know if you've got something that would trump ours. It should not be difficult. These were outside Lisa's. Lisa's actually. I
Lisa's is actually.
I would
solid.
actually.
Thank you.
I don't know that I'd pay to go see it because that's also partly my life as well. But
Yeah.
I guess in your movie, the dad just kind of walks.
Wow,
off.
so
He
you're
comes in and walks us back out.
So you wouldn't even support your own wife's movie, is basically what you just said.
I
Holy
support
shit.
it anyways.
Wow. How about this movie, guys?
Thank God we're past Mother's Day already.
Yeah,
so
let's get to the movie,
good.
Mitch,
All
for your
right.
sake.
So this week's movie of the week, a very special movie of the week, The God Inside My Ear.
Okay, well, I need you to look into my eyes and pick your hands up like you were surrendering. Good. Now focus and let go at the same time. Now tell me, what do you see?
I see men.
What kind of men?
Men controlling me, harming me.
And how do you feel?
I'm broken, ashamed, controlled.
Now what do you see?
We're coming for you. We're coming.
We are already dead, people!
What do you see?
God. I see God.
Yeah, so again, for whoever did the trailer, I don't know if it was the same editor that did the overall movie or if they got someone outside to
Great
to
job.
piece together. Great job. The trailer itself is phenomenal. When we were approached to review this movie and I saw the trailer, I did not take a lot of time to think about it. It
Yeah,
was
like we're in.
looked very good. It's like, yeah, let's do this. So hopefully that is, just on that, I think they probably have a good shot at getting at least some attention.
Yeah, I hope
the
so.
festival
Yeah,
goes.
definitely.
Okay, so we typically have our unsuspecting victim sort of give an overview of what this film is about. So, Lisa, if you had to tell someone what this movie is about, how would you describe it?
Girl goes through worst breakup ever.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Pretty much.
When Harry Met Sally too.
It's not even that, like, and we'll get into it, but it's not even that it's just a breakup. I mean, this is an extraordinarily crazy breakup.
Yeah.
Followed by just a descent into madness.
Yeah.
So Nate, do you have a few? I'm sure there's not that many out
There's
there.
not a lot of information about this movie, but I'll do my best here. So runtime 97 minutes. It said on IMDb. Our screener cut was a little bit shorter than that, but it's a solid hour and a half. The movie hasn't had wide release yet. Like you said, it's trying to get in the festival circuit this year, and I hope it does because I thought the movie was well made. The director is Joe Badon. He's done a lot of art department, storyboard artist work on other films, and he's also done some comic work, and he kickstarted a comic called The Man with 10,000 Eyes a couple years ago, which looked pretty solid. yeah, you can check him out. This movie did not have a tagline. But I think what we could do is we could just use Lisa's thing. So, worst breakup ever. Or like, most breakups are bad. Hers is worse. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be a good tagline. You're welcome. You can take the tagline.
Yeah, that's
a solid tagline, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. And that's all I got. This is not out yet. We got a early screener cut.
Yeah, so this movie is sort of a art house horror film.
There's an amalgam of genres, getting used here for sure.
So, but I like to talk about more genres after we get into kind of some of the influences, but just overall. So, Lisa, the art house style. So, a lot of this kind of random, vivid imagery.
Well, it's tied together thematically.
It is tied, but certainly it's meant to be provocative early on.
Oh yeah,
and then you try to piece it together. Some of it will make sense or more sense than others. I guess.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Lisa, what was your thought at least of this style? Have you seen any movies that are kind of like this, or?
I'm trying to think if I have.
Not big into the art house. Not big into the art house scene.
No, not really. Although I did appreciate them using art house in a horror movie, but not using it in such a way that they just kept cutting to really scary stuff, Like,
yeah, it wasn't meant to be like jump scare and
right.
Thing.
Yeah. So I appreciated that because I've seen movies with that, and yeah. One interesting thing is they released a clip on Reddit, and I don't think I'm giving anything away, but one of her blind dates, once they convince her to get back on the dating scene,
mm-hmm.
and they tag the movie as a horror/comedy.
Yeah.
So
I
see it.
Yeah, it has some comedy elements.
There's some black.
I wonder if that
humor.
would change anyone's perspective going into it. Because I just thought it was supposed to be pure horror, but now that horror/comedy, it's worth a.
I don't know.
There are comedic elements.
Change.
Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that I would put it as horror comedy. It's not strictly horror. It has horror elements. It's got comedy elements. It's definitely more art house on that side of it.
Yeah,
sure.
If you count like absurdist comedy as comedy, then you bump it up.
Yeah,
because there's some pretty absurd. Yeah. Like hilarious things happening.
Yeah.
What about
that aren't like straight comedy, like joke wise or anything.
So, what about you, Nate? Was there any? If I guess the meat of my question is, if you were trying to tell someone about this movie and trying to give them like an example of, okay, if you liked this movie, you may be interested in this. Does this movie kind of remind you of anything, or?
Oh man,
and it's okay if it doesn't.
Yeah, it's this is a kind of like a weird animal. It doesn't really fit into any one genre nicely, or even any like two genres nicely, to be honest. Yeah, I'm trying to think. At certain points, it kind of reminded me of Under the Skin.
Okay.
But only at certain points. Other points, it like reminded me of Daria or something.
Yeah,
when she's at her job, just real,
so the lead actress at some points was channeling her inner Aubrey Plaza / Daria.
Yeah, which is hilarious. I love those parts.
Those are definitely the comedic elements.
It kind of reminded me of some of the caricatures of how like people like really were stereotypes, but like in an obvious way. Like no one's acting like this, but it's kind of representative of how people are. It kind of reminded me of Edward Scissorhands a little bit, like the next door neighbor, like the other guy at work, like some of like the other people, like her friends and stuff. It was like so stereotyped that I assume that the director was going for some sort of like, like if you're not fitting in with these stereotype things, then you're like weird or an outcast or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't too, it wasn't too on the nose with it if it was there. So
I mean, the next door neighbor was.
The next door neighbor, no, certainly,
definitely was.
Some of it was, but not all of it.
And the parapsychiatrist was hitting, and then the blind dates were and her ex-boyfriend were pretty.
So when do y'all think this takes place? Because, for instance, she's using flip phones. There's like no use of the internet in here. So this has a very...
she uses the classifieds.
Yeah.
To get dates. I was like, what?
Yeah, until she pulled out the flip phone, it took a second.
We heard the dial-up.
Oh, yeah, the modem.
Oh, and one of my favorite like uses of sound in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Using the dial-up AOL sound while she's also like going crazy at the same time was fantastic. I thought that was great.
So we keep saying let's introduce her. So the main character of this movie is a girl named Elysia.
Elysia. Yeah.
At the very beginning of this film, which is broken up into, I think, 5 or 6 chapters.
Yeah.
You meet her and she is basically, we've alluded to, I mean, straight off the bat, she is getting dumped by her boyfriend, who is Fred, who is effectively joining a cult.
And this guy looks, let me say this, looks nothing like a Fred. You look at this guy, you're going, this guy's name's not Fred. This guy's closer to like being like Aquarius than Fred, like name wise.
Well, the cool thing, he looked like a little David Koresh or he also, for a second there, I was like, he looks very similar to the guitarist from Nothing More. And for a second, I had to like check and be like, did he do this on his off time? Or are they like, Fred? Like, I didn't know. But yeah, so he has this crazy tattoo of an ear on his palm.
Yeah.
And they put it to his forehead. It's like, this is how I receive messages. And I said, this cult doesn't understand how ears work.
Yeah, he said, I wrote down the laundry list.
Inner ear.
Instead of the third eye, it's the third ear.
It's a third ear, Mitch. God, you don't get anything. The lizard people. The lizard people have gotten to you.
They have.
He mentions lizard people, local wizards, whites. that was like aluminum foil. And I was just thinking, Lisa, this sounds like your soulmate. I don't know how you ended up with Mitch, but
it sounds like my soulmate.
I'm just kidding. But seriously, this guy's batshit insane. And then by the end of all that, she's like, "What does this mean? We're breaking up?" After all that, like she is still hanging on to this.
Yeah.
Like, does this mean we're broken up?
Yeah. Well,
that's not great for her.
I mean,
she wasn't starting at a good spot.
This is definitely a girl that's very much in denial. If you hear her friends, because her friends are like, "Oh yeah, she's got 4 reoccurring friends throughout this whole thing that are like, they're like, oh yeah, we all could tell like
this guy's gone. He's
been going batshit crazy for a while now.
Yeah.
She just hasn't noticed it, or she's been complicit in it, or
the most devastating part of it is that like, not only is like he doesn't want her to come with. Like normally, like if you're joining a cult or being like crazy, you want to like recruit people. Even then, he's like, I'm not into it.
See,
I got to do this journey on my own. Like, that's harsh.
Yeah,
that's harsh.
You know, I was hoping we would. So I guess I'll say this, and it's not much of a spoiler or anything, but I was hoping we'd get more of the cult stuff because there's a lot of cool little elements of it. At one point she's watching that like the 3 a.m. Pastor video, and it came across a very Heaven's Gate-ish. Like it was very like put your hands to the screen and all this. I thought we'd get a little bit more of that. But yeah, you're right. Mostly cults, in the same sentence, most cults try to teach you to get away from your family and loved ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would think they'd maybe try to recruit like, oh, hey, I know this girl would probably come along.
Yeah, and I was thinking at one point in the movie, like maybe the same thing was going to happen to her.
Yeah.
Like now that like he is talking about the lizard people and has the ear tattoo on the hand, right? Like maybe because he broke up with her so catastrophically that then she kind of goes to the same place and then has the same kind of thing happen to her.
Yeah.
That didn't actually end up happening, but I thought that would be interesting. But I like your idea that they could have shown more of like the backstory to how Fred, because you see in pictures like, oh, that looks like a normal dude. Yeah. But by the time that the beginning of the movie happens, when you see Fred, you're like, this guy's not normal.
Yeah.
This guy is he's not in the realm of the same people.
It's the same cult from the Invitation.
Oh,
they're all gonna light red lanterns later on.
Yeah, they're gonna put the lawn gnome out in the front yard. Then you know that it's happening. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that's a really specific tattoo to go get.
Yeah, but it's super memorable though. Like in the movie, I think in the movie, like has some really really memorable visual scenes. I think that help like propel it along and break it up.
Now she has several friends, 2 girls, 2 guys. I think they're just random friends. Although I guess she seems to like or has
David.
Yeah, she has some kind of feelings for David at some one point during the movie. What did y'all think about the friends?
They were kind of, I don't know. What do you think,
They were
Lisa?
interesting.
Yeah.
At times, they seem like incredibly supportive, and at times they seem like, "Oh my God, just get over it."
Yeah,
I couldn't quite feel out because at times they were like, "Oh my gosh, we're so worried about her," and then there are times where like, "Yeah, she needs to get over this guy."
yeah. The passage of time was hard to kind of figure out because it's like, have they been dealing with this for like? It seemed like it'd only been a
Days,
week
months,
because
yeah.
I think the date. There's a date scene that happens on Valentine's Day, but you don't really hear about the Valentine's Day coming up until it's at the beginning of the movie, and then it happens toward the end. So
Yeah.
I would think it's maybe a week. So yeah, these friends are kind of like, Jesus, get over it already.
Yeah, so when this happens and she starts descending mentally, she misses 2 days of work, and then the 3rd day of work she has to come back in.
Yeah.
And I thought that there was a lot of like religious overtones in this, obviously. Very religious overtones in this movie. I thought that was like a subtle one where she missed 2 days and then the 3rd day she had to go back again. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know that I caught that. So.
Okay, yeah.
That was good, yeah.
Does the movie end on the 7th day?
No, there's more than 7 days. There was a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of gaps. But yeah, it's hard. The passage of time is kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
Well, and I mean, a lot of it takes place in her apartment. I mean, it does take place outside, but it's not just there. But a lot. So I think maybe that's intentional. Yeah, there's just a bunch of random kind of characters in this. So some other ones just to note, you have this person called a telemarketer who calls in to basically, I guess, try to sell her something. And then
they strike up a conversation.
He asks what's going on because he can tell she's upset, and she kind of goes through the breakup. She has a neighbor with a dog.
A nosy neighbor.
Very nosy neighbor. Very nosy neighbors. I've never had a neighbor that nosy.
Yeah.
Certainly,
But you haven't had a neighbor who like just like knocks to see if you're okay and then like throws their dog in, like, oh, I guess I gotta go in the apartment now.
Yeah. And then starts like going through all your cabinets and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Although she was making some interesting sounds the night before.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Which, this actress did a great
dial-up modems are annoying, so.
Yeah, so the dial-up modem scene, let's talk about that.
Oh, so good.
She gets a call right before the telemarketer calls first time, and it's just like the old jarring, Yeah, listeners will
Spot
enjoy
on.
that.
Good job.
Thank you.
We need to get an AOL CD and then record that.
I'm sure you still probably could. That's just that thing. So, yeah. And I mean, the facial expression, like her eyes are like straight up, like old school Undertaker rolling in the back of her head.
Yeah.
I mean, she's doing a great, like, I will say the actress who played Elysia did a phenomenal job throughout the movie, I thought, particularly for,
Yeah. Her name is Linnea Gregg. Yeah.
Yeah.
She did a great job. Again, this movie reminded me of Prevenge. What do you think, Lisa? It seemed like there's always internal monologue happening. There's always like crazy outside forces seemingly pushing on the person. You keep going into madness, and you have to kind of display a lot of range of like emotions as the time was going on.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right? It reminded me. It wasn't the same, obviously, but it was in the Prevenge vein, which gives people a clue because I loved Prevenge. So it gives you a clue about how much I like that. But yeah,
at least this voice was more soothing than that baby voice of Prevenge. That one's annoying.
Okay.
So of all these,
you prefer the one person in the history of the world that says, I like the telemarketer's voice better. Like the one time that someone's ever said that.
Yeah, really.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
It's like a classy British telemarketer voice.
Yeah.
Too.
Definitely.
That helps. That help was British voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see why you would listen to it. and not just hang up the phone.
There you go. So companies hire British.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch is just started cashing checks to people. Yeah, that sounds right.
Jeez, where was I? I don't even know where I was going. All right, so all these characters, right? Which ones to y'all, I guess, stood out, good or bad?
I'll go first. So, she goes to the doctor and she's like, I'm hearing voices, right? Like, I feel like crap. I'm pretty sure I'm depressed. Like, she's like, all right, I'll do the responsible thing and go to the doctor. The doctor says, yeah, you look fine. I mean, I could run tests like a doctor, but I'm not going to. How about I just try to straight up hypnotize you here? Wait, what?
Well, yeah. Before the hypnotizing, he was like, that's fair. She's like, look, if we run all these tests and we bill your insurance, it's going to be, it's going to, which made me think, oh, maybe they're in Canada because the healthcare is free. And they're like, we just don't want to tax we don't want to get it from the government as much.
I don't know. Would a company.
But then the hypnotism was.
Yeah, and that's
ridiculous.
That's the nice setup for your the crazy imagery that occurs throughout this movie, which I liked. I thought the scenes maybe didn't necessarily tie 100% back to everything, but like they were pretty disturbing, like shockingly disturbing and interesting.
I did like the parallelism. That's a word, right?
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Of her putting her hands up again. Because she did it to, that TV at the 3 a.m. and then.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the number was 1-800-SHAMROCK.
Yeah. Halloween 3 tie-in?
I will say it got bonus points for that. Whether it was
what kind of insurance does the Fashion Style Mart Hut give?
Fashion
Style Mart Hut, and then later on she said like, "Oh, we don't have that. Maybe you should go to like the other store that was named similarly." That was hilarious.
Well,
like
because the lady asked for like, what was it, parsnip?
Parsnip. Do you have like parsnip like perfumes?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Lisa, you need to like.
I need to get on that.
You need to get on that. Apparently, there's $1
million market out there.
What was it like? The one was like banana, and the other one was like meat, like rotten meat.
I don't remember. I do remember the banana though.
These choices were.
I mean, who doesn't like smell like bananas on their getting ready for their Valentine's Day?
But no, I would say the doctor.
Where did she get her damn degree that she's going to go straight to hypnotherapy? Like that's like
that was really
like is that what she did her her clinicals at?
Yeah.
Like just
well, I mean, what I'm saying is like, did she bill for the hypnotism? Like you see like a thing like blood test, you get the fee for showing up, right? The doctor's fee for as a specialist. Hypnotism. Like how much does that hit?
See, this is what happens when you go to free healthcare. You just get whatever random doctor.
Better quality of care. God, what's up with that? Maybe she needed a hypnotist. and then lastly,
that or she found her on Craigslist. I'm not sure because that office was not suited for a doctor's visit.
Yeah, and then lastly, she's so.
When was the last time you went to a doctor that had a wolf head mouth? I've yet to see
every doctor in Idaho. Come at me, Idaho. I'm ready.
Don't at me.
I'm ready. Potatoes and wolves. That's all they have up there. I'm just kidding. I mean, that was not great. The doctor was hilarious. And then, of course, you get the ultimate referral, which I've never gotten referred to a parapsychiatrist before.
Yeah.
Because she gets so freaked out by her reactions to being hypnotized. And, of course, we don't see that reaction, but we see all of the vivid imagery going on, which is great. I loved all like kind of the image arty setups that occurred. Arty, there's your word. But yeah, that part was cool for me. What about you, Lisa? Character wise.
I think I liked her coworker.
Oh, John.
Yeah. John, because you can tell he's just this upbeat guy, and he doesn't mind working at the Fashion Hut Mart, whatever the place they worked at.
He reminded me kind of Brad Pitt from Burn After Reading.
Just very high energy.
Yeah, like he was working at his job, just like crushing it. Like, yeah.
Well, and he's got such like a kind of a sad story, and he's still like he's so upbeat about everything. So like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn from it. That's the best lesson. I'll never do. It's like,
but you don't know that till toward the end of the movie.
Right.
So what did you like about him? So you like that he was upbeat?
I just like that he was upbeat.
Okay.
Because she's so, I mean, understandably so. She's so depressed most of the movie, and he's just right there like, hey, how's it going?
I would like to see
How's
a
your
cut of this
day-to-day?
movie that during her working hours, you just have la 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 la, just playing the whole way through.
And she technically did the Daria volleyball move
When she went to the cash register.
Yeah. Or she dropped the perfume.
Do you have any other perfumes? All we have right here.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. This is a podcast so no one can see your hand movement, but it was spot on.
We're gonna get that video feed one day.
Exactly. But no, yeah, that was good. Okay. That was a good character. And then they ended up going doing something outside of work, at least, later on in the movie, which was nice too. So yeah.
So I will say too, so Alicia is my favorite character probably in the movie. I mean, she's protagonist.
That's
the
fair.
other characters, they're okay. To me, they were kind of like filler.
What about the dog? There's a dog in this movie. You're a dog person.
The dog had a great cameo at the very beginning where it's right in the door crack, and it's just like you could just tell that dog was just happy to be there.
Yeah.
The dog had just gotten like a treat for every scene it had to do. It was like, okay.
I mean, granted, there's a little bit of a Chekhov's gun or a Chekhov brownies.
Chekhov's brownies. Name the episode. Done.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, I'll go ahead and, in advance of this movie, I'll go ahead and update the doesthedogdie.com entry.
It is sad but true.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Positive points for me in the movie. If the dog dies, you get an extra point.
I think what really humanized Alicia for me is the scene where she goes to, I guess it's like a guitar center, and she goes over to like
music
keyboards,
store. Yeah.
and she is just going off on shit. And then, she's into the music. She's working some shit out. And then she stops. She looks around. Everyone's around. And then best line the whole movie. I think you need to get out. That was like
just some random
delivered by
music
some
dude.
Delivered by some guy who they found that day to say that line. Because let me tell you, that is absolutely my experience at Guitar Center.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's just gone into like a lot of psychotic rages.
Get out.
Yeah, a lot of psychotic
This is not
rages.
a lending library.
And that's one of the things about this movie. Like, I would say the dialogue can get like a little wordy and kind of like it's kind of like a playish. So it's like
some of it's like no one says that.
Yeah. But then in the middle of that, you get some just fantastic quotes like that.
That had to be ad lib. That was not scripted.
It was, but it was hilarious.
I think you need to get out. I think I paused the movie to laugh for a while because I didn't want to miss anything.
There was some really good. There were some really good quotes in this movie.
So there's a lot of. Did you have a quote you wanted to bring up? Or?
I mean, yeah. So like at one point, she's in a costume, and she's obviously just hammered / high, right? And she's like, "Unwrap me, silly." It's like just ridiculous lines like that were just really funny. Like it's just, I don't know.
I enjoyed.
It was like a dark comedy though. It's not like, oh, that's like a Will Ferrell joke. No.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed when the neighbor's trying to ask her stuff, and she does like, it's like if someone is saying, "Hey, do you know where my dog is?" And even if you're guilty, you're kind of like, no, right? That would be a normal answer. Maybe you say yeah, or oh, I haven't seen it. Her response is, I am not available for questioning.
See? That's the best.
That is literally the word, like the second worst thing you could answer for that question.
Yeah.
So some of the lines are fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. In the beginning, like I said, does this mean we're broken up? I mean, like that is such a hilarious question. Like, it's so good.
So this movie has there's a lot of genre specific stuff.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of symbolism. I guess I wanted to get there's no real. I don't think a spoiler to say there's really no. I don't think that for a lot of it there's a specific answer to some of the stuff. Obviously there is what's the ending and all that. But there's a lot of symbolism, a lot of the random imagery you see.
Yeah,
and I was curious what
definitely.
you think. See, there's a lot of talk about like the Red Riding Hood.
Yeah.
A lot
She's
of
literally reading the book at one point.
Yeah, at one point there's a whole bunch of people wearing Red Riding Hoods. The doctor, not the parapsychiatrist, is talking about, tearing off your skin to reveal the wolf inside, which again, don't find your doctors off Craigslist.
Yeah, if your doctor says that quote and then tries to hypnotize you, 0-star Yelp review. Like just instantaneously right there.
Right.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about the like that whole aspect of it? Did it make sense to you? Was it just kind of like okay, or
the more I think about it, the more it does make sense. But if I explain why it makes sense, I'm going to spoil something.
Okay.
How about like a non-spoiler?
Well, because there's
How about you tell us, but you don't spoil it?
Yeah.
There's one twist towards the end that I'm starting to think fits in with the Little Red Riding Hood.
Okay. I guess. Okay. So do you think that she is supposed to be Red Riding Hood, or is she the wolf?
I think she is supposed to be Little Red Riding
Hood. Okay.
For me, the religious overtones were pretty obvious.
Yeah.
There's your 1-800 Shamrock late night TV televangelist. Not even televangelist, because like it was just a dude.
Well, it was an evangelist.
I know, but not like one of those like big kind of. It was like a small, like a smaller guy. There's that.
Well, they can't all be Joel Osteen.
Also,
that's
speaking
true.
of
Houston's own Joel Osteen.
Speaking of when the hell is this supposed to take place? Did you see the remote she was using?
I think it's
Was it like an old RCA one or something?
Yeah, it's really it's just like a clicker, like up and down, and that's like it.
So this is like early to mid 90s, right? I mean, the flip phone.
Well, no, flip phone.
No. It had to be
flip
like maybe
phone's like
2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But yeah, classifieds. I mean, that really puts you back
right
before huge internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like she goes past this church that she, lives nearby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's when she like starts like flipping out, like mentally, right?
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, she goes to her mom's church. She goes home to visit her mom at some point to try to feel better.
Yeah.
Oh, that church is rough.
Yeah.
That was a
church was random.
That was a sermon and a half. Oh man, we could have just laughed at every single quote from that thing.
Right.
Oh my god!
And again, that's why I kind of thought they'd do more. There was going to be more into the cult stuff. I kind of pairing it against like all these kind of the religious stuff that she's seeing. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like I said, I was just really fascinated with the Little Red Riding Hood thing. Really stood out. I don't have a good answer for what it's actually supposed to be.
Yeah.
Some of the other symbolism I caught. Although there was like early on, there's like a stock footage thing of like a boxer and he gets punched in the face. I'm kind of like, like you see it like twice and you're like, and that was it. And the rest of the movie, I'm like,
yeah,
I guess the idea is that she got punched in the face.
Emotional.
We'll
yeah,
that's what I got.
Let's be honest here. We are not professional film critics.
No. Well, I mean, not even that. I mean,
not a lot of professional film critics are making Chekhov's brownies jokes, and that's why we're better. So we're not going to get it from that angle, from the joke angle. Got it.
I like it. All right. So, is there any other part of this movie that y'all want to talk about? Maybe I asked a different way. What was one scene in this movie that really stood out to you, good or bad?
I really did like the blind date sequence.
Oh, the blind date sequence, yeah.
Mainly because it at the same time it was your typical blind dates,
right?
But at times it was a little bit of a twisty kind of like, they're really weird. So no, I enjoyed those blind dates.
I like that for someone who's having a mental breakdown. Her dates seem to be even worse than
right.
Further along that path. That
I am terrible, and they're
the
way
worst.
worse than I am.
Yeah.
I did like though. I pointed this out to Mish that whenever she went out to dinner, they would drink wine.
Mm-hmm.
That is some of the most generous wine pouring I've ever seen. Because when I go out, I get like, I don't know, 2 ounces. That was like 6 ounces. I was like, all right.
You're saying that's the unrealistic
Maybe
part.
she's not crazy.
Like psychedelic dream sequences and like nightmares.
No, but listen, maybe she's not crazy. Maybe with those pores, she's just really wasted.
It was really wasted at the party.
This is an allegory for alcoholism.
There you go.
Well, the lizard people are known to be a lot more generous.
Yeah, the
pours.
lizard people are stealth, man. They're stealth.
Not so much the whites.
Yeah.
But the local witches, or wizards, not
local
the
wizards,
not
the international wizards,
or just the national, like not the interstate wizards, just the locals.
Yeah. Just in my current region.
What about you, Nate? Was there a scene?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of went over the one scene with the dial-up where she's listening to the phone. The dial-up sound happens is great.
Yeah.
At one point, she gets an elf. Or no, I mean, sorry.
No,
sorry.
An elf.
I was saying like Elf on the Shelf or something.
They didn't have Elf on the Shelf back then.
I know. Gnome on the shelf. Oh God. And this
Gnome on the stone.
That's gnome in the home.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
Basically this gnome becomes like a huge plot point. Like it was so random and it was just this movie seems it almost had like an improvisational like just it's going everywhere which direction kind of thing that I liked, that the gnome just became a thing.
Yeah.
Like she just grabs the gnomes at some point in the movie and the gnome's a thing now.
Well, she did it because they told her to focus on something else besides
yeah,
the
but
breakup.
trying to collect.
It's a gnome.
It was a cute gnome,
It
actually.
holds so much significance. It's just hilarious. I loved it. The gnome part. The gnome part was great. Everything about the gnome, I'm in.
Oh man. I mean, yeah, the modem scene's so great. That's probably the one scene that really stood out the most to me. The dating scene. Yeah, those are.
Yeah.
The gnome's interesting for sure.
It's not one scene, but it's the fact that this gnome is huge. I'm in on.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I guess again, because this movie's not released, we're trying to be.
Yeah.
Normally in this review, we would totally just spoil the shit out of this, but we're not going to. You'll just have to go see it. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get to our final stuff?
No, let's get out. I think we've covered it, and we don't want to get to the ending. So
yeah. So I guess my question to both of you then is, what would you have done differently?
Son of a bitch, you left the bodies and you only moved the headstones! You only moved the headstones! Why? Why?
Yeah. So what would you have done differently, Nate?
Well, we've already talked about these blind dates, and the blind dates are bad when someone talks about movies don't show people choking people to death more realistically enough. That's when things are not great.
Right.
How about instead of using the classifieds as your method of getting a blind date, ask your friends to set you up.
Yeah.
That seems way more reasonable. They seem like they'd be very helpful.
Okay. I mean, I think for me, what I would do differently, I probably wouldn't collect gnomes because gnomes are creepy as shit anyway.
What's creepier, gnomes or Elf on the Shelf?
Oh, fuck. I think with Elf on the Shelf, at least I can pose them and make them do stupid shit.
That seems creepier to me. The gnome, it's like you just put it in your front yard.
But gnomes
like
are transfixed in that certain way, like, and they have more of a like the Elf on the Shelf just has that same bullshit, like Mickey Mouse looking thing,
Yeah, that's way creepier to me. I don't know. That's a personal opinion.
But I guess, and first off, do you remember the name? Did you catch the name of the gnome?
Oh crap, I don't.
Noam
remember.
Chomsky.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was that, but that's still good.
That's
it was
what I would name my gnome.
This gnome was named. She did not name that. She named it Mr. Stuffy Bottom.
Oh yeah, Mr. Stuffy Bottom. Yeah, that's right.
Which is like straight from like Rick and Morty. Level.
Mr. Stuffy Bottom.
Yeah. I'm Mr. Stuffy Bottom. I'm here to. I don't know what we're doing with that. Sorry.
I'll listen to you. Okay. Yeah. Lisa, what would you do differently?
That's what I would do differently.
So use your friends for dates. No gnomes.
I'd like to think if I was dating Fred and he's like, hey, I'm joining this third ear cult, I'd be like,
Well, he's already been involved deeply.
I like to think I'd be like, peace.
Yeah.
She got really hung up on this guy, and
So
I'm
you-
like,
so- All right, so to save yourself, you preemptively break up with him.
yeah, maybe, or just
Like maybe even during the sit down, you're like, oh shit.
I feel like their relationship was probably going downhill already.
He's like, you only got 2 years. I need someone with 3. That's not enough ear for me.
Yeah, I don't know. She took it so hard. I feel like I feel like he was not that great of a guy for her to take it so hard. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the response was not proportional to
Exactly.
the quality of boyfriend that you were getting.
I feel like if that happened, like, oh, yep, well, he was in a cult. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah,
That's 100% fair.
Yeah, we don't
Swipe right.
But again, this guy's such a good guy. He didn't try to pull her into it. He was just like, yeah, now this.
Yeah, but it was almost a diss, though. It was like in a negative way.
We gotta
You
take
are
this
not
journey
good
on
enough
our-
to
we
have a
gotta-
third ear.
That's fair.
Hey, you're not good enough to have a third ear. Now you're not good enough to have a third ear. Now you're good enough to have voices in your ear. And you're like, I'm seeing God everywhere, like in speaking in tongues and having trances and crap.
That's fair.
Downgrade.
Well, so Nate, tell me, what's the sequel?
Cause let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel. Ah!
Yeah.
What's the sequel to this one then?
First of all, this sequel gets $16,000 of money to be made, which is I cannot believe this movie was made for $8,000. That's crazy to me. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a thing on YouTube. So for everyone listening, you should check it out. I'll try to maybe put the link up in the show notes. But it's an interview with him and his crew, and I mean, apparently he had this thing. Like he had each shot already storyboarded, like to such a degree that like the director of photography, all of them were like, they just like looked at this book and they're like, cool, that's the shot we need. Cool, I mean, they just did it. It was already so well thought out, and this movie is very well produced, very well shot. At least
for the money.
He also mentions he said a part of it was they scouted locations first that they could get for cheap or free, and then worked that into the movie instead of working the movie and then trying to get the locations.
Yeah, I mean, like that doctor's office was not a doctor's office.
No.
Right?
No.
But they got it, and that's all that really matters, to be fair. I mean, yeah. What?
Nothing. Yeah, no, you're right. I don't know where they found that doctor's office.
Yeah.
Probably a vet office.
All right, so
that's why the wolf head is there.
I just think she has a thing with wolves, which is fine. Wolves are kind of cool, I guess, but you know, I have a thing for large octopi and Cthulhu-like creatures, but you don't see me running around with
tentacle porn. We get it, man.
Yeah.
Calm down. Yikes!
Wow.
Yikes! Anyway, sequel for this. My sequel. All right, so
that's a sequel.
So you got let's say you get $16,000 this time.
Cool.
Maybe that can get you one Rod Stewart song. The Rod in Our Ears. So
Hit it again.
the Rod.
Yeah, gotcha. Had that one loaded. I just knew it was.
You got Rod instead of God, and you put ears instead of ear. Sequel. Boom.
So you get ear tattoos on both your hands?
You instead of all this stuff that's happening in her ears, it's Rod Stewart.
So
instead.
it's basically that scene from Guillermo del Toro from Pan's Labyrinth with the eyes, but it's the ears.
I am loving that you're making the gesture right now.
I know no one can see me.
God,
It's great.
We really need to get the video.
Yeah, but with Rod Stewart.
When you say but if you say the God inside my ears,
yeah,
that's basically
the Rod
I know,
inside
but that's
my
Children of
ears.
the Corn. I realized the ears of corn.
Yeah. No. God, that's terrible. That's
going downhill fast.
Terrible.
No. Okay, so
you're making mine sound great. Keep going, Mitch.
I do not think. I think they're both just compoundingly getting worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, I was like, or the sequel could be a prequel, and you see that the lizard people crazy cult.
You son of a bitch.
Oh shit! Oh, I didn't say that.
Well, what were you gonna say, Lisa?
You only get one idea, Nate.
Yeah, you can't have like 8 sequels. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well,
I was gonna follow Fred.
But, okay,
but I was gonna say the same thing too.
Yeah.
What happens?
That's what we said. We want to know how he ends up in this crazy 3-year cult.
But like, what are you showing though? Because like,
so would it be a prequel
movie,
or a sequel?
No, it would be a prequel.
Or is it like
to see how he gets to that point of breaking up with her?
See, I would do the sequel. I would say what happens once he leaves her.
So maybe it's parallel time frame. That's what I was thinking you were saying. That's what I was thinking.
See.
I'd be down for a prequel as well, because then I think you could tie in some of the things you see in this.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah, maybe they're still having shared experiences, which is why she's taking it so hard.
Maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
I like that. All right, what is your guys' both called though? Because now you got to think of the title. That's the key. Obviously, my Rod Stewart one is pretty great, but I mean, there's a second place slot open here.
Well, okay, so this one's the God inside my ear. This would be the ear on top of my forehead.
What? You have like turned. This is going poorly.
That is their symbol.
You could have said the ear inside my ear, and that would have been
that would not have been good. There's no ear inside your ear.
The ear inside my hand.
He puts the ear on his forehead, Nate.
He puts the ear on the forehead. It puts the ear on the forehead.
Is that all they do all day? Just his arm.
That's how you get the signals, man.
All right, listen. What would yours be called? The prequel.
Yeah, something with lizard people.
The Association of Local Witches and Wizards.
Yeah.
Lizard people, local,
like they're in a union, like they
unionize.
They're union, like them.
Ooh, you gotta give
like the parapsychiatrist is in that same union.
No,
you got all kinds of.
Lisa's
people.
needs to be directed by Wes Anderson, and it's like the unionization of
thinking.
local witches and
exactly.
lizard men. Yeah, boom, done.
Can you get Bill Murray for $16,000? That's the crucial.
I mean,
I feel like if he sees the
anything
script,
right
he's
now.
gonna do it for free. I just feel like he's gonna just sign one. All right. Well, that's gonna lead Jesus.
Yeah.
So this will lead us into
Final cut.
All right. So for this episode, because this movie has not been released, we're not going to give it our normal out of 10 scale.
And we're not sure if it's the final version yet. Still getting shopped around.
That's right. So, it's just a screener. So what we will do instead is really more of a thumbs up, thumbs down. So would you recommend this movie to people? Would you actually go out and actively tell people, hey, you should see this movie?
Yeah.
And Nate, I'm just going to start with you.
Yeah. Do I go up to somebody and say, the movie inside my ear is the God inside my ear?
It should have been the movie inside my heart is the God inside my ear.
Oh, shit. See?
Jesus.
That's why
we are not.
Yeah.
This is like amateur hour.
Basically, if we combined, we could be one decent podcast person today.
Wow.
It. It's all the new fancy equipment we're using. We
got lazy. We got lazy.
Yeah.
No, I would say, would I recommend this to someone? Yes, with the caveat that they like are up for an art house type film, like not a straightforward film. A lot of allegory, a lot of symbolism, a lot of like shots, like you said, that might not make sense.
Yeah,
depending on what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
But I thought the main actress, she was great. She really did a good job, and the scenes that were set up visually I thought were great too. Yeah. Some of the acting is, you got $8,000. What are you gonna do? Some of the dialogue, some of the acting, wasn't a huge fan of. The plot was kind of like awesome and then all over the place here and there, but in general, I thought it kept a pretty good flow. So I would recommend this to the movie, the into the movies people that I know.
Sure. So Nate,
so my wife would hate this movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
And so that's what I'm going to ask you. So on top of that, you and I are sort of representing horror movie fans. I think you typically tend to fall more for
indie movies.
Well, yeah, you're definitely the indie guy. I'm more the gore. I'm more the
Saw,
supernatural. Yeah, that
you're
kind.
The Saw guy.
More the mainstream horror movie.
I'm
fan.
The under the skin guy, which I referenced earlier. Like, yeah.
So horror movie fan. So indie horror movie fans, you think would probably like this?
Yeah, like if you liked. So we did Unsane recently, right? Like if you liked Unsane, you're getting pretty close to liking this type of movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like if you like Freddy versus Jason, you're in a whole different ballgame with this one. So yeah, I would say independent horror movies. If you like some of those, that this is kind of falling into your category.
Yeah. Okay.
So Lisa, saying that now.
So now for the perspective of people who don't care for horror movies whatsoever.
So I would say if you're gonna watch this, give yourself the time to watch it twice.
Oh.
And I'm saying that because now that I've seen it all the way through to the end, and I know what happens at the end, it would be very interesting to go back and watch it again because a lot of that imagery, I think, is going to make a lot more sense now.
Sure.
And is going to just seem smarter on the second viewing than it was on the first. Because you're getting a lot on the first, and you're like,
at the end of the movie, there's a lot of plot resolutions and explanations and things that happen.
Yeah.
Toward the very end of the film, it's pretty dense. Like things keep coming at you, pretty consistently. Yeah.
My other recommendation is, I wouldn't watch this alone, and not because it's terrifying, but because there's a lot of elements of it where, the ending isn't totally like black and white cut, straight. It's kind of like, here it is. What do you think? And so it would be nicer for those folks watching it. And that's why it's nice to do the podcast with you guys, is because we can talk about it together and kind of piece stuff together on what happened.
So for the scariness factor, though, as the unsuspecting victim here.
Oh, no.
How scared were you during this movie?
It's not scary.
So were you scared at all?
I would lean it more towards a psychological thriller than I would lean it towards, like, it's like not a bloody,
more like
gory
it's more like a Gone Girl than it is a...
Yeah, like you're just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Yeah.
So, let me ask you this. So, you say give yourself a second time if you're going to watch it. So would you be telling people to go see this, or would you be saying this is probably, unless you're a certain niche, you're probably not going to... Where do you sit with that?
I say go see it, and keep in mind now that we've talked about it and talked about some of the comedy elements to it. That's what I didn't keep the mind frame of when we were first watching it. And so some of the comedy things I was like, this is kind of weird. But now that I know they were intentional, it kind of makes more sense. So I think as long as people keep that kind of horror comedy mindset going into it, I think they should definitely give it a shot. Yeah,
we certainly watched the trailer before we watched the movie. We didn't see the Reddit thing. And watching the trailer certainly gives you a different... It kind of almost leads you to be prepared to view this movie a certain way. And then, if, the comedy elements are just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're funny. They're good. I would say from my point of view, if you are a kind of a mainstream horror fan, like I think you guys said best, if you're really more like, I'm into Jason, I'm into this.
Yeah,
this one's a tough one. I think my issue that I had with it, I throughout most of it, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'm where are they going to go with this? What are they doing? Because I'm watching, I'm not a big art house guy. I like Grindhouse. That's the only house horror movie.
The only house that you like.
The only house I like is
and the movie house.
Yes, and House. And the TV show House.
So you're all about the house.
Fair. I stand corrected.
What Home Improvement? Does that count as house?
That's the episode's already just gold just for that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There was just so much of it that I was really interested in, and then I think my issue is that I wanted it to tell me more. Than it meant to, and that's not anyone. No one has to tell me shit, right?
You're not a huge fan of the ambiguous endings, anyway.
I don't typically.
Yeah.
To some degree, I do. As long as everything up to that point, like it gives me something I can actually trace to. When it's just that's ambiguous, and then this other piece is ambiguous, and there's other piece, and you're trying to have to piece.
In this movie, it's hard to tell like what's real, what's in her mind. Yeah,
I like that in my books. I don't like that in my movies. If that makes sense.
Okay, sure.
Because at least with books, you think about it a lot more. There's a lot more depth you get to it from a movie where
you can explain things
differently,
more in depth than in the visual medium.
But because I think that was my issue. We got to the ending of this movie, and I was like, cool. I don't get how this ties to to this part.
Yeah.
I get how it ties here. I don't understand this. And I think Lisa's right. Probably a second viewing is in order, and I'll
and then
catch a lot.
things will probably make way more sense.
I definitely would say though, if you are interested in the art house stuff, if you definitely like more, if you are a person who likes sort of ambiguous movies and really trying to work shit out and like that puzzle in your movie, it's a great movie. I think it's very well shot. I think on an $8,000 budget, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
The acting is spotty here and there.
Yeah,
Some of the dialogue some of the dialogue is like, okay, we're right. This is a writer and not a.
It's a little unnatural.
Yeah, but it's not. At no point was it ever like egregious.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's been other movies that we've watched that I was like, I turned this off. I'll come back to it. Like I never did that here. I want this straight shot.
I'd be curious to see if they make any changes. If like it's picked up for distribution, what might be different if they go, or if nothing changes. I'd be willing to certainly watch it again. I would definitely tell people to go see it. So
with more money in this budget, though, man, I would be really excited.
To see if like A24 kind of picked this up and kind of gave it a little bit extra,
even A25, B25, whatever, any of those, just any more of a budget, I would be very intrigued. Is there a B25? I don't know.
Sounds like A25? I thought it was just A24.
Sounds like an experimental vitamin or something. No, I'm just making shit up, bitch.
Oh, I just want to make sure I didn't.
It is A24.
I've been botching shit all night, so I just assume that I just botched another thing again.
2 B12 vitamins, and then you add one other B vitamin. And
so,
you got it.
I key message here: keep on the lookout for your different horror movie festivals, your different just regular film festivals. If you do see this movie on the list and you're going to it, check it out.
And if we see any news about it, we'll definitely let you guys know. For sure.
Absolutely. All right, well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Nate, tell them where they can find us.
Yeah, you can check us out at our website at texaspodcastmassacre.com. You can tweet us at TXPodMassacre. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and all your other podcast platforms.
Yep. Let us know if the God inside your ear is hearing Yanni or Laurel. Yeah, whatever you think it is, it's Laurel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. And
the pod inside your ear.
The pod.
Oh my God! Why did I come up with this earlier?
Thank you very much for continuing to listen. The pod inside your ear will be back next week with a all new episode. And just keep telling yourself it's only a movie. Good night.